Hey everybody, it's Rafi at Zurb, and in this video we're going to cover one of the starting projects for Foundation. It's going to be the basic template. So if we click over to Starter Projects, there's a few different ways to get started with Foundation. You can go with the basic CSS version, which you can just download and get started coding. The Sass version is a lot more powerful and allows you to use Sass in your projects. It comes along with a settings file that lets you customize and theme your website super fast. So the basic template is one of those options. The other one is the Zurb stack, which we cover in another video, and it comes with a lot more build tools. So we're going to cover the basic template here. And the basic template comes with a Sass compiler and a very basic Gulp build. I'm going to show you what goes into that. So once you create this with the CLI, you can get started with it. So if we were going to create this with our CLI, we're going to get into the project that we'd like to work in, and then we would run foundation new. So this is the CLI command to start a new build project. And it's going to give us some options. So we'll choose Foundation for Sites. We'll name our project. And then we'll choose the basic template. So if we do that, it's going to go ahead and build that project out for us. So we're going to go ahead and skip ahead to one that I've already created because that takes a few minutes. So this is what the basic template looks like when you open it up in your code editor. We have a few folders here. The Bower Components folder is all the packages that Bower installs. So that's Foundation itself, jQuery, Motion UI, which is our animation library, and What Input, which is used for accessibility. And of course you have a JavaScript file. And this has the app.js file. This is where you would put all your custom JavaScripts, and as you can see here, the initialization of Foundation belongs here as well. So moving down the line, we have our node modules folder. The node modules folder is where all the npm packages are installed. And so this is done automatically for you by the CLI, but if you were building this template manually, this is the folder that it would create. And in here, you'll have the few node dependencies that are used to basically run auto prefixer and compile Sass. And we have an SCSS folder that is provided for you. In here, you'll find the settings file. And we have another video on the settings file, but this is where you would set all the default SCSS settings for your website to quickly theme it. So things like colors, body backgrounds, fonts, and padding, margin spacing, things like that, breakpoints. So the app.scss file is actually the only file that's being watched for changes. So this is the file where all your Foundation components are included. And these includes here control what CSS classes are compiled into your final CSS file. So if you wanted to reduce that CSS file size and not include those classes, you can comment out certain components right here. Just like that. And so now button group and callout will not have any classes compiled, so that'll reduce your CSS file at the end. So this is a good thing to do at the end of the project to kind of just optimize it. If I was adding my custom SCSS files, I would basically create a folder here. So in Sass, I would create a new file or a folder, and let's call this navigation. And we'll give it the SCSS file extension. Whoop. You want to make sure that you have the underscore in front of it so the Sass compiler knows that this is a partial, and it will actually compile it down to your final CSS file, which I'll show you in a moment. So navigation.scss, and we'll hop over to our app.scss file, and this is where we're going to import our Sass file. So we'll use the @import statement, and we'll add quotes, and we'll put in the name of the file. You don't need the underscore, and you don't need the file extension here. So if you save that, now we have access to write our custom CSS in navigation.scss. And just going through the list here, you'll see that there's a CSS file and a file called app.css. So this is where all your CSS is being compiled. Now you can see that by default it is also compressed. So all the white space has been taken out, and you can see that all your styles are in here in one small file. Now you might want to change that. Maybe you're working in your project and you want it to not be compressed. So there's a Gulp file that controls this. So let's take a look here at the Gulp file. And so there's some basic settings that you can change. So compressed is the default here for the output style. This is in the Sass pipe task. So what we're going to do is change this to expanded, and if we save that, you'll see that the CSS is now expanded and not compressed. We can also control auto prefixer here, so there's some documentation on the auto prefixer website, but basically if you want to change the browser compatibility for the vendor prefixes that are automatically added, you can do that right here. And this just shows you some of the paths where the files are compiled and sent to. And we also have the index file. So the index file is the home page of your website, and it also contains the boilerplate that's needed for every page. So if you're going to create a new page, you would just create a new file, name it page2.html, and now you have page 2, so we're going to grab the boilerplate from page 1, copy it over to page 2, and you could put your code right in here. So that's it for the basic template. It gives you a basic Sass compiler and auto prefixer, and of course a settings file to quickly theme your website. If you're looking for something a little bit more robust with a build system and more options like handlebars, you might want to check out the Zurb stack. And we have another video on that that shows you all the cool things that you can do with the Zurb stack.